Was I wrong for refusing my parents' desperate 2 a.m. plea for $15,000, only to find out their story was a complete fabrication when the police called hours later? Tell me if you would have done the same thing, because honestly, I'm still reeling from the audacity, the betrayal, and the sheer manipulation that unfolded in those horrifying early morning hours. It started like any other Tuesday night, or rather, Wednesday morning, around 2 a.m. I was in a deep sleep, the kind where you're completely lost to the world, when my phone started buzzing relentlessly on my nightstand. The caller ID flashed my mom's name, and an immediate knot formed in my stomach. My parents never called that late unless it was an absolute emergency. My heart pounded as I fumbled for the phone, my mind already racing through every worst-case scenario. Had something happened to them, to my younger brother, Mark, I braced myself before answering hello. My mom's voice, usually calm and composed, was frantic, high-pitched, and laced with tears. "Oh, honey, thank God you answered. It's Mark. He's in terrible trouble. We need your help, please. You're the only one we can turn to." My blood ran cold. "Mom, what are you talking about? What happened to Mark? Is he okay?" I was already sitting bolt upright in bed, adrenaline coursing through me. I could hear my dad's gruff, equally panicked voice in the background, yelling something I couldn't quite make out. He got into a fight," she stammered, her voice cracking. "A bad one. He broke someone's nose and they're pressing charges. He's been arrested. We're at the police station right now trying to bail him out, but we don't have enough money. The bail is $15,000, and they won't let us see him until it's paid. $15,000. The number hit me like a physical blow. My parents knew I had a decent amount saved up, a nest egg I'd been building meticulously for a down payment on a house. It was my future, my independence, something I'd worked tirelessly for since graduating college. But this was Mark, my brother, and my parents sounded genuinely desperate. 15,000, I repeated, my voice barely a whisper, my mind scrambling. "Mom, that's a lot of money. Are you sure? What exactly happened?" My dad then took the phone, his voice strained and authoritarian, cutting off my mom's sobbing. "Look, we don't have time for questions right now. Mark is sitting in a cell. He needs us. We've already cleaned out our savings, and we're still short. You're the only one who has that kind of liquid cash, kiddo. We need you to transfer it to us right now. We'll pay you back, of course, as soon as we can figure things out. But we need it immediately, or he'll be stuck there until his arraignment, and that could be days." The urgency in his voice was palpable, almost suffocating. He painted a vivid picture of Mark alone and terrified in a jail cell, facing serious charges. The thought of my younger brother, who was usually so sweet and unassuming, in such a dire situation was heartbreaking. My heart ached for him, and a wave of guilt washed over me for even hesitating. But something, a tiny, nagging voice in the back of my mind, kept me from immediately agreeing. My brother Mark, bless his heart, wasn't exactly known for getting into physical altercations. He was more of a gamer, a quiet observer, someone who would go out of his way to avoid conflict. A broken nose, criminal charges, it just didn't sound like him. "Dad, can I talk to Mark? Or at least to the officer there? I just need to understand what's happening," I pleaded, trying to buy myself some time to get a clearer picture. There was a moment of silence on the other end, then my dad's voice, sharper now, almost annoyed. "No, you can't talk to him. He's not allowed to have calls until bail is posted, and the officers are busy. This isn't a social visit. Look, either you help your brother or you don't. It's that simple. We need the money now. Give us your bank details, and we'll walk you through the transfer." The pressure was immense. They weren't asking, they were demanding, and the tone, the absolute lack of patience for my questions, felt off. My parents had always been incredibly supportive, but also very independent. They rarely asked for money, and certainly never with such aggression. I loved my brother, and the thought of him suffering was unbearable, but the sheer amount, the late hour, the vagueness of the story, and their refusal to let me speak to anyone else, or even provide specific details about the alleged victim or the charges, set off alarm bells. My logical brain, still half asleep but fighting its way to the surface, started piecing things together. $15,000 is a significant sum, and usually, if it's a legitimate bail bond situation, there are specific procedures, a bail bondsman, and usually a lot more paperwork and transparency involved even in the middle of the night. Their insistence on a direct transfer without involving a third party or official channels also seemed suspicious. I need a minute, I stammered, trying to think clearly. This is a huge amount of money, and I just need to verify some things. Can you give me the police station's number? I'll call them directly and confirm everything. Then I'll transfer the money. I promise. Another tense silence. Then my mom's voice returning, but now laced with a new kind of desperation, one that felt performative. Oh, please, honey, don't do that. They'll get angry. They'll think we don't trust them. It'll just make things worse for Mark. We're already under so much stress. Just trust us, please. We're your parents. We would never lie to you about something like this. The emotional manipulation was palpable. It was a classic guilt trip, weaponizing their parenthood against me. My dad chimed in, his voice taking on a wounded, betrayed tone. So, you're just going to let your brother rot in jail, after everything we've done for you? This is how you repay us? We thought we could count on you. This is your family, for crying out loud. My parents had always instilled in us the importance of family, of always being there for each other, no matter what. And they had done a lot for me over the years, sacrificed a lot. This argument was powerful. It hit me right where it hurt. The conflict raging inside me was agonizing. My love for my brother, my desire to help my parents, warring with that persistent, icy feeling of unease. What if they were telling the truth, and I was letting my brother down? What if I was being a terrible daughter and sister? But what if this was a scam? What if they were being scammed themselves, and I was about to lose my life savings? The entire situation felt wrong. The details were too vague, their resistance to any verification too strong, and the emotional blackmail too heavy-handed. It just didn't sit right. So that's the situation I was in, a real rock and a hard place, and I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have transferred the money immediately, no questions asked, for your family? Or would you have pressed for more details, risking their wrath and potentially leaving your brother in jail? What would your gut have told you to do? I took a deep breath, my hands trembling as I clutched the phone. I can't, I finally said, my voice shaking but firm. I can't just transfer that amount of money without any official confirmation. I need to speak to someone at the police station or to Mark directly. I'm sorry, but I just can't. There was an explosive silence on the other end, followed by a gasp from my mom, and then my dad's furious roar. You can't. What do you mean you can't? We're your parents. We don't have time for this. This is an emergency. You're choosing money over your own brother. We can't believe this. We raised you better than this. We'll never forget this, never. He continued to rant, his voice filled with venom and hurt, but I felt a strange sense of calm settling over me. The fury, the immediate shift from desperate pleading to outright anger, solidified my suspicion. If this were truly an emergency involving their son, wouldn't they be more focused on getting details, on getting any asterisk help, rather than lashing out at the only person they claimed could assist? I knew, deep down, that something was profoundly wrong. I hung up the phone, my heart still pounding, but a different kind of dread settling in. Not dread for Mark, but for the implications of what I had just done and what it meant about my parents. I barely slept the rest of the night, replaying the conversation in my head, questioning myself, feeling a profound sense of emotional whiplash. The sun eventually rose, painting my room in a pale, sickly light, and I was still wide awake, exhausted and emotionally drained. Around 9 a.m., just as I was debating whether to call the local police department myself to try and verify if Mark had actually been arrested, my phone rang again. This time it was an unknown number. I answered cautiously, my stomach clenching. Hello. The voice on the other end was calm, professional. "Good morning. This is Detective Miller from the City Police Department. Am I speaking with my name?" My heart leaped into my throat. "Yes, this is me. Is everything all right? Has something happened?" I immediately thought of Mark again, despite my earlier skepticism. "We received our report this morning," the detective continued, "from an individual claiming to be your mother, stating that her son, Mark, was arrested last night and needed bail money. We just wanted to confirm if you were aware of this situation and if you had transferred any funds." My jaw practically dropped. "Wait, you received a report from my mom?" "No, I mean yes, she called me last night, demanding $15,000 for Mark's bail, but I refused to send it. She and my dad were incredibly upset, but why would they report it to you?" The detective paused, and I could almost hear him processing my words. "MS, my last name. We're trying to reach your parents. We received a report this morning from them, claiming they were victims of a scam. They reported that someone called them in the middle of the night, pretending to be you, claiming you were arrested and needed $15,000 for bail. They transferred the money to the scammer's account and are now trying to get it back." A cold wave washed over me, a realization so stunning and disturbing that I nearly dropped the phone. It wasn't Mark who was in trouble. It wasn't even my parents, who were legitimately calling me for Mark's bail. My parents had fallen for a scam, and in their panic they had tried to involve me, repeating the scammer's narrative to me, demanding my money to fix their mistake. "Are you telling me," I whispered, my voice barely audible, "that my parents were scammed, and then they called me in the middle of the night, pretending Mark was arrested, and demanded my $15,000 to cover their lot?" From the scam, the detective's tone was apologetic, but firm. "That appears to be the situation. MS, my last name. It's a common grandparent scam variation, often targeting parents, where a scammer pretends to be a child or grandchild in distress, needing urgent bail money. Your parents seem to have believed the scammer was you, and they transferred a significant sum. When they realized it was a scam, they reported it to us, and in their conversation with us they mentioned that their other child, which we presume is you, was also contacted and refused to help with the bail, which is why we're calling to verify." The truth hit me like a freight train. My parents hadn't been acting out of genuine concern for Mark, or even for my ability to help. They had been trying to recoup their own lost money, to mitigate their financial mistake by coercing me into giving them my savings under false pretenses. They had knowingly lied to me, manipulated me, and used my love for my brother and my familial loyalty against me, all to cover their own tracks and ease their financial burden. The anger, the betrayal, the sheer audacity of it all was overwhelming. My parents, the people who raised me, who taught me right from wrong, had tried to outright scam me. And the worst part was, they still hadn't called to explain, to apologize, to even acknowledge the truth. They had gone straight to the police, playing the victim, and even tried to subtly throw me under the bus by mentioning my refusal to help. The detective explained that they were investigating, but given the nature of these international scams, recovering the money was highly unlikely. He also advised me to be wary of any future attempts from my parents to pressure me for money, given this incident. After hanging up, I felt a strange mix of emotions, relief that Mark was safe and that I hadn't lost my life savings, but also a deep, aching sadness and anger. My relationship with my parents, which I had always believed to be built on trust and honesty, felt shattered. I tried calling my parents multiple times that day. They didn't answer. I left voicemails asking for an explanation, for them to just be honest with me. Nothing. A week passed, then two. Eventually my mom called, her voice tight and defensive. She didn't apologize. She didn't explain. She simply said, "We've been through a lot. It was a stressful time. We just wanted to help Mark." She never explicitly admitted to lying or trying to get my money. My dad was even worse. He called to berate me for not trusting my family, and for making things harder, for them by not just giving them the money. He still refused to acknowledge their deception. The fact that they couldn't even bring themselves to apologize, to admit their wrongdoing, was the final nail in the coffin. It made me question everything I thought I knew about them. It showed a level of selfishness and disregard for my well-being that I never thought possible. Our relationship has been strained ever since. I love them, they are my parents, but a fundamental trust has been broken. I've set very clear boundaries and made it clear that I will not be their personal ATM, especially not under false pretenses. The incident left me with a profound sense of disillusionment. It taught me a harsh lesson about vigilance, even with those closest to you, and the painful truth that sometimes family can be the ones who hurt you the most. It also taught me the importance of trusting my gut, even when the pressure is immense. So, that's my story. A truly unbelievable night that revealed a darker side of my family I never knew existed. What do you think? Was I wrong to hold my ground, or did I do the right thing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video if you were on my side and think I made the right call. Subscribe for more stories like this, where trust is tested and difficult choices are made. Share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. I'm really curious to hear your take. I'll see you all in the next story.